Hello, Born Review Nation. Gabe.
Nick.
And we are here today to do a very special review. We are going to be reviewing KGF. KGF. Now, this was requested. We had a lot of reviews to do the KGF reaction on the trailer, and we liked it so much we said we got to review this movie because it looked awesome. I know you just did the review the other night with Chris, and he liked it. And he was really interested in wanting to watch this movie. It's been out for over a year then. It was last December, so or close to it. So, spoilers. This review is going to be full of spoilers. I actually enjoy doing spoilers better because that way I don't have to hold back on anything. And then we can have a conversation, which is, you know, hit us in the comment box. Let us know what you thought about the movie. Do you agree with our perspective on it or don't you? And, you know, we can have an engaging conversation that way. So, Nick, you know, I'll tee it up to you. What did you think?
All right, so this is my second official Indian cinema film. The first, obviously, was Bahubali. There's a review on that. Check it out if you want to. Here we go. Boy Reviews!
Bueller.
This is a Cronod, I think I'm saying that correct, film. So I believe that's Sandalwood. KGF, what did I think of the movie? So, for me, you know, first 10 minutes, I'm into this movie, right? I mean, the movie starts off, and you have the mom, and you have the boy, and you can relate to that. For us, I know for you, for me, family is very important.
Right.
And, you know, a mother's love is even more important. And so you're feeling for her, and then, you know, she passes away, and she tells him that great line that I know you love. What does she tell him?
And, you know, I think that at first I was expecting something else. I was expecting full-on just action. People talk about how much all these movies are action, action, action. This was my first Indian movie. So I was like, okay, let me see what it's like. And I was expecting just pure action, not as much exposition, not as much story. And like the first 10 minutes, actually, I like the way they did it. It was really smart. It's all being told or retold in flashbacks, which is really cool with a reporter there. So at first I'm like, wait, am I even watching the right movie?
Yeah, me too. I was
like, am I watching the right movie? It threw me off for a little bit. But then he starts retelling the reporter the story of Rocky, our main character, Rocky, and well, his mother, whose husband worked in the Goldfields? How do you say Goldfields? And he was killed. Now, we had to do a little research. I didn't know if it was actually an actual thing, but apparently this is a real thing. Just like you know, the Blood Diamond movie where, you know, I guess that there's been struggles and wars and, you know, a lot of people have died for this. And so it was cool that they took a piece of history like that. But the line, any which way, that she says, which was really right away, I was like, wow, this is going to be a different kind of movie, was like, everybody thinks you need money to live peacefully, but now you need money to even die peacefully. What she tells him is, promise me that no matter what, they will know your name. And he makes it a point to make sure people know his name. It was touching. Like, I expected right out the beginning, I wanted it, not that I wanted, but I was expecting big gunshots and explosions and big set pieces. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a real heartfelt piece.
Oh, they definitely set up the story. And I, like you said, about how the man who wrote the book and the reporter trying to get the story, I love that element. I love that idea of this is a legend that no one knows about, but they need to. This is a true story. You can say it's mythology, but this is really what happened, and let me tell you the story. So I love that whole setup. And then when his mom dies and he wants them to know his name and he wants to become someone important, man, as a kid, this guy, he just goes and bam, hits what was it, the sheriff or
the sheriff. Nobody would mess with the sheriff because he was notorious for being corrupt.
Boom, right in the top of the head, and they go, someone get that kid right now. And he's running away like you would expect. And you're thinking as watching the movie, like, man, this guy,
I hope he gets away. That's what I was thinking. Oh, he
and then he stops and his friend's like, what are you doing? He's like, he didn't know my name.
And went back.
I'm like, what?
And went back. I was like,
so he goes back and he, boom, again.
And you know,
I'm Rocky.
That line right there could have been delivered so cheesy, but it wasn't. Props goes out to Master Anul. Master Anul. He's got some acting chops on him for a kid. Oh, yeah. I tell you what.
Stood tall. He had that presence.
This kid's going to be in more movies, I'm pretty sure. And I was impressed with just his command of the performance. You know, you could tell he was already a broken child. And I mean, at best, he's maybe 10 years old in this part of the movie. And yeah, because his mom had him at 15 and she died at 25. So he's 10 years old. And man, this kid's in the street. Nobody else would do it because they're all afraid of the sheriff. He's like, what do I have to fear? You know,
and that's a great scene too. Like when he raises his hand
raises
up,
his hand
out of the crowd, the guy you don't expect in the very back, not even tall enough a kid, and I mean, even that. The direction of this film was awesome. And talking about the direction, the way that the young actor, his name again,
Master Amul.
The way that this young actor delivered the character that we come to know as Rocky, very similar to the way Yash, our boy Yash right here, he is the man in this role. They are very similar in the presence they have, in the serious nature. Now, Yash, he throws a few one-liners out there here and there, and he's trying to impress the girl, but for the most part, he has got that epic stare. I don't want to mess with that guy. And the kid had the same thing. And I love that because too many movies I've seen where you have the child character and then the adult character, they don't match up at all. And it's like, what is the direction there? I want to see some similarities. So that was awesome. But as the movie goes on, I mean, this movie is chock full of epic stares and epic walking and these guys being terrified of Rocky and him being put in all these situations where, I mean, you know he's the main character. You know this is chapter 1. There's no way he's dying. Right. But you're asking yourself, how's he going to get out of this? And just like, you know, the ultimate tough guy, the ultimate man, I mean, he just gets out of every situation.
Right.
The movie goes on, and we get introduced to the woman that he falls in love with instantly.
Right, the love interest.
That actress is...
Whoa. Before we even... You went too far.
That actress is beautiful.
You went too far. Before that... Probably my favorite action set piece or fight scene of the entire movie. Come on, the happy birthday scene.
Happy birthday to you. That was awesome. He's up there, and I'm like, really? The movie's going to start like this?
Right.
And all these guys are talking, it's my birthday, man, this or that. These people are talking about that. And then he starts singing. And you can see the look on their face like, he's not dead.
He's not dead yet. And I mean,
you better kill that man.
Because everybody, and I think that was the point of the kid wanting people to know his name was Rocky, because his name commands so much respect. It's kind of like that Batman thing, where they're more afraid of the idea of Rocky or the idea of Batman than they are the man. And you can tell a lot of these guys are terrified to even go against them. And that scene was brutal. That was the action I was waiting for, because as soon as I saw him get down, man, he did some fatalities there. It was like Mortal Kombat, you know.
And once again, the direction, I've seen too many times that kind of thing where the one hero has got to fight 50 people. How can we make it believable? The way they make it believable is the rest of the guys are way too scared to go after him.
They don't want any
until they get enough courage or they're pushed to go towards him.
Right.
That was done beautifully because when they come to him, I mean, he's just knocking him dead.
He's knocking him dead, exactly. And that's why I think it was important to establish that early on. Why does he command that kind of respect? Why so many people fear him? Because as a kid, he went after the sheriff. Nobody would go. That was uncorruptible. And he went back to tell him, yeah, I did it. You know my name.
Doesn't know my name.
It was awesome. I didn't want to cut you off there, but before we pass
Can't
along
pass
to
that scene.
That scene was awesome.
And we've had so many requests to do that fight scene, and we're probably not going to react to it, but you're right. Got to give some love to that scene.
Even a little bit of comedy there, when now he's got the last survivor he leaves, and he's dangling him off the side of the pier, and the ships are coming, and they see him, and they're like, nope, not doing it. The ships made a U-turn.
Not Rocky.
I want no parts of that. We're out of here. That was awesome. That was comedic. Out of there. So I love that.
You
it was
don't want
comedic.
to mess with Rocky.
And sometimes, you want that levity in there. So I thought that was awesome.
Now, I got to say, Rocky, the movie with Sylvester Stallone, probably my favorite movie of all time. That series is unbelievable. So I love the fact that he wanted a tough guy name. He wanted a name that would put fear in the minds of everyone. Right. Rocky, I love that.
And you know what? It's funny because you find out in the film that the reason he took it is because there's some posters of some American films out there, but they didn't actually go to like the Sylvester Stallone poster of Rocky. That would have been cool. I don't know. There's like some copyright issues.
Well, you got to remember, it starts in 1951 when he's born. So when he's a kid, he's probably 61. So that'd be before Rocky came out.
You're right.
So let us know in the comment section, what is the significance with the name Rocky? Maybe it's a different movie character of an Indian film. Maybe it's part of Indian mythology or the history books. Let us know where that came from. But we just love that name. So our favorite scene, I know it's our favorite, or one of our favorite scenes, because he was a little ahead of it when he was watching it at his house. And he was like, have you gotten to the part with the bread on the floor? And I said, what are you talking about?
Right. So the love interest, not to cut you off, the love interest comes into the scene. And now you start seeing a little bit of Rocky's softer side. Like you said, the one-liners. Because he's trying to impress this chick. So all her henchmen or all her betrothed henchmen start coming at him, and he's just dispatching them, and she leaves and comes
Putting
back.
on the driver's suit. And,
yeah.
I got you, my lady.
I got you, my lady. So they're driving, and as they're driving, there's this lady walking through the street, and she drops her bag, and in her bag there's a loaf of bread, basically. And people are honking, people are being rude, and all of a sudden you see everybody just stop. And it's like, oh, what just happened here? And when the close-up is that he's got his hand out the window with a gun. Everybody's like, oh, I want no part.
They all jump back in their car.
Everybody comes back in their car. So he gets out, and he goes and picks up the loaf of bread. And people are, still upset. And he says, don't worry about them. And I'm going to mess up this line. I'm going to butcher it. But again, here comes the heart of the movie where I'm doing this from memory. It's like, don't worry about them. In all the world, there is no soldier stronger than a mother. Because, again, the loaf of bread is for her and her young child that she was with. And that was such a powerful line. And it gave the character some depth that, yeah, I'm walking around like this Terminator, but it still goes back to the fact that I lost my mother in the streets, so I had to become this guy.
And he totally saw his mother in that mother.
In that woman. And then now the love interest is like, oh, wow. This guy has some real depth to him.
And the love interest also, she is multidimensional. She is not a damsel in distress.
No.
She is not just a typical girl who's going to fall for the hero. She is the daughter of a very powerful guy.
And himself, right.
She tells this guy, you're going to die because you're messing with me and I got all these people to protect me. And he's not dying, talking about Rocky, but she does not care about his flirtation. She does not care about his smooth words that he's trying to share with her. But you're right. Once she sees that melts her heart. And as the movie goes on, it's not like she instantly, I love you. But as the movie goes on, she realizes, yeah, he's my love to be.
Right. And
he's my husband to be.
And it's not normally it's the tough guy that gets the girl. And the big macho man that gets the girl. That wasn't what impressed her. Because she is born and raised into this world of tough guys. What got her was his character, the depthness of his character where, wow, this guy thought about somebody he didn't know that lady on the street with their child, but he recognizes and empathizes with her pain. And that was really what opened her eyes to, man, this guy could be the guy that I could see myself with. So I thought that was a good way of doing that in the movie.
Just to wrap up that scene, my favorite part really of the entire scene, because it's a very powerful scene, changes the tone right away, is when he's in the car and he's got his arm up here, he's just finished talking to the girl that he likes and she's trying to ignore him, and then he sees what happens and he just has that stare where he's looking at the camera. I mean, that is Yash with his acting ability to the upteen degree where he is just instantly transitioned to, I care about what's happening right there. I'm going to stop the whole universe so we can get this loaf of bread for this mother because she needs it.
Right.
But the look on his face that he has,
right.
That was unbelievable. That was one of those moments in cinema where, wow, this guy's locked in.
That's writing. And I tell you what, that was a great piece. It was performed well. Yash did a great job performing it. The other guy, though, the guy from the KGF Minefield, that guy was totally, I was so glad to see him get his in the end, honestly. I was happy. But they wrote him to absolutely be this menacing character, doesn't really care about anyone. He's enslaving his old people to work into these mines for power just so he can get this goal. And, he ends up orchestrating later on to become the head guy. So, I guess you really need that guy, that's total bad guy. But I always like bad guys with some type of... I understood...
But why couldn't we just have the fact that these people were being enslaved and working in these fields? Why couldn't that be the villain?
Right.
Why couldn't that be the antagonist?
Right.
And I would have been... And I agree with you. He had that... His first opening scene, he showed some presence. He showed some awesomeness. He had the beard working.
Right.
But as the movie goes on, you kind of forget about... he's there,
right. But
you kind of forget about him. For me, where it started to slow down the movie just a little bit was actually when Yash gets to the Goldfields.
Right.
And you know that he's there, A, for business, but also because he really wants to help these people out.
Right.
And so when it gets to that scene, it's cool to see him set things up. It's cool to see him count on the rocks how many seconds it takes for the car to get out into the cave. It's cool to see him set this up and set that up and go over the barbed wire and then get back in time when they're counting everyone. I liked all of that. But for me, my biggest complaint with this movie is just the setup at the end. It wasn't really worth it. It was awesome to see him take care of business. It was awesome to see him trudge along. This movie has its strengths when it has those epic moments defined and the time slows down and we're able to see him slowly walking with that wagon when he's pulling and he's getting his stuff ready.
Right.
And the dust is flying up and he's in there and he's taking out names and
right.
He's in the cave and he's blowing out the match.
There's
awesome scenes.
That was a great scene. The
some
scene
awesome
in the cave.
Scenes, but overall,
awesome.
That whole sequence near the end wasn't my favorite. I know this is chapter 1, and so there's a second part coming eventually.
Right.
And so, you know, you live or you die with that, and that's fine. It didn't ruin it for me, but that was probably my biggest complaint, was that part. But just to go back a little bit, I do love the scene where he first meets the girl and they're outside in that park area and all these guys, get him, get him, get him. And he's just beating all the guys. And you see the scene in the trailer where he takes the hand, he does his hair and throws the guy back. That was a fun scene.
It was, you know, there were a lot of cool scenes like that. I mean, even the choreography, I was worried because I knew that there was going to be, from the video before, I mean, from one of the trailers, I knew that there was going to be like a big set piece with like a dance scene, you know what I mean? And I was like, man, Yash just doesn't seem as the character that wouldn't really partake in that. You know, he's got this serious menacing thing. So I like the way they filmed it, where it happens around him. Yeah. Everybody else is, but he's just so cool. And I mean, he dances with the lady for a few times, but his focus is still on the other love interest, not the girl that's chasing him. And he's still Mr. Cool. But so I like the way they did it.
I like the musical numbers a lot, especially when the one girl, she's like, hey, don't you see what's going on here? And he's like, oh, okay. And so he's trying to make her jealous.
Right.
The dance sequences, the music was done, like I said, like you said, perfectly with the tone. It was a more serious movie. It was done very, very well.
Right. And I mean, for me, the biggest thing is I really like stories that have a plot. I've argued this to death. You can't just give me action, explosion, because then it's not a story. You know what I mean? I give me some plot, and it had a plot. We didn't know at first. We had to do the research. Wait a minute, is KGF a real thing? Yeah, it's a real thing. These Goldfields were a real thing, and this war that happened, the fighting over it, kind of like the Blood Diamonds I mentioned earlier. So I love the story. I love that where it's being told in third person, because it's about the guy that wrote the book of the legend. So some of the stuff, when you're like, wow, could he really do that? Well, of course, when you're telling the story, you know, now you might embellish a little bit. You know what I mean? I punched him and he fell across the room, but when I tell the story, I punched him and he went through the wall. You know what I mean? Like, of course. So you can understand why they embellish a little bit. The thing was, like you mentioned, it's chapter 1, so we need chapter 2. You know, you feel like the story is incomplete. So now I'm like, okay, I gotta watch chapter 2. You know what I mean? I need chapter 2. I need to know who's gonna happen.
First day we're there. First day.
Exactly. But I loved it. I loved it
too. I really did. I'm loving these movies so far. I've only seen 2 of them, but so far I loved them both. Let's talk about grade. I'll go first here. As far as the grade goes, if you're not sure how we do it, Born Reviews, we give it a grade. We're teachers, so a teacher grade. And here in the States, you got an A as the highest. F is really bad. I'm going to give KGF, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give KGF an A-. It was between that and a B+. Though that's how it works, B+. The next step is A-. But Yash is awesome. The female actress that played the love interest was awesome. The interaction was great. So many amazing lines. This guy can walk into a room and have that stare like nobody else. Right. So A-, got to go there. A-.
You know what? And I see that. And like I said, for me, it probably would have been an A- if the story would have just been around that one character I disliked so much. And maybe he was meant to be disliked, but I can't remember his name. But you know, the main bad guy with the beard, I feel like he wasn't even really necessary as far as the story's concerned. I would have rather have been like the 3-way love triangle, and then just Yash, I keep saying it's Yash trying to save the people from the mines. That guy to me was like so over the top bad. It's like, you know, I want bad guys that I can relate to. I don't know why. I like having bad guys that, you know, I can see their point of view. Could you empathize with that guy at all? I couldn't. Not even a little bit. Bit.
I'm not a bad guy. So.
Why do I root for bad guys? Okay, this is
what grade do you give?
Okay, I give it a B+. Absolutely a B+. I like this movie. Sorry. Give me a bad guy that I can relate to. I love bad guy movies. That's why I'm so excited about the Joker. And I like having bad guys that have a real story, because, you know, ultimately, don't give me the, I want to take over the world, or, you know, yeah, that guy, Mr. Dr. Evil. Don't give me the Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil's awesome.
Dr. Evil. Dr. Evil. But yeah, I give it a B+. I give it a B+, and that's a pretty high grade. It's a pretty high grade. You know, spoiler alert for those of you that didn't see it, Mr. Bad Guy that I don't like, they just chopped off his head. You done, cousin. All right, he's done. I love that part. That was my favorite part. He got his due. So
you give it A-.
You know what? Yeah, I might change my grade, because I like that. I like that scene. It was really fulfilling. So that was our review, guys. Again, We appreciate all the love. We still have a long list of movies. We're probably going to review Yuri next. I was excited to see that. I love military movies.
Bahubali 2 is coming.
Bahubali 2. I know you and Chris are scheduled to watch that together and then review that. So we have more reviews coming up. And this is like the kind of conversations we have. And if I missed something or misinterpreted something, then let us know in the comments. Like, well, you know, he was supposed to be more of a caricature of a bad guy. Of a bad guy. Or, you know, oh yeah, the name Rocky is symbolic of this, or it comes from this, because you know we don't have all the background to it. It requires a second viewing. I tell you what, the emotion, you know what, oh man, the emotion part of it, I may change it. You know what, I might go back to A- now, because the emotion part of it, of that scene with his mom, and that scene with him picking up the bread for the mother in the road with the little boy, that was so much heart. And that's what films are missing nowadays, with sometimes, wow, like nobody has a heart anymore, you know what I mean? So, you know what? You convinced me, Nick. Very seldomly will I ever do this. Will I ever be swayed? But you convinced me. Okay, A-.
All right, well, there you have it. We both give it an A-, I guess. But great movie. We really appreciate the request for this trailer a long time ago to get us into this movie. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on Amazon Prime. Many different languages you can check it out in.
It's free.
If you have Amazon Prime, yeah, it's definitely free.
Everybody has Amazon Prime.
But if you haven't done so already, go ahead and consider subscribing to the channel. Go ahead and give us a like on this video. Go ahead and check out some other videos that we have. And until next time,
my name is Rocky.
Boy Reviews.